Hi, everybody. It's Tuesday. I hope that if you're in the United States, you had a nice holiday weekend. For everybody else, how you doing? All right, so it's the first live stream of the week, so you know what that means. It means it's time for me to gift 5 memberships, just like Lady Jennifer Snow did. Thank you so much. Very, very kind of you. Here we go. Aw, yeah. Aw, yeah. Load it up, baby. Here it comes. Woohoo! Huzzah! All right, so thank you so much for everybody who's so generous. Just like Wandering Seth, thank you so much. As I always say, that's the best way to support this channel. Not only does it benefit the channel, but somebody else gets a membership. Your membership's good for 1 month. Make sure you've said that you would be, thank you, Danny. Make sure that you've said that you're willing to accept gifts. You have to click that. Just Google how to accept gifts on YouTube, how to accept a membership. Thanks, Jason Woods. And YouTube is the one who selects who gets a membership. Not moi. YouTube does. Thank you, MM92. What YouTube does is they pick it based on your engagement with the channel. So if you're a subscriber, if you comment on a lot of the videos, if you've been a member before, you like a lot of the videos, so hey, like and subscribe. It'll improve your chances of getting a gifted membership. That's the way it works. So it's a little bit slower right now. Hey, Optimus Prime. When a big movie's coming out, that's when a lot of trailers are dropping. In fact, I think the Borderlands trailer is coming out tomorrow because Dune is going to hit some overseas locations this week, the end of this week or early next week. So I think they want to play the Borderlands trailer in front. I'll be reacting to that tomorrow. The first trailer is going to drop tomorrow. I thought it looked an awful lot like the Suicide Squad. So I'll be curious to see how the final trailer, the full trailer looks. Also, just so you know, 3 a.m. tonight, my Bad Batch review drops, and then tomorrow at noon, it is the Dune review embargo lifts, and my review is all ready to go. Thank you, Alex. And then, of course, the day after that is Avatar Day, where I'll be doing both a non-spoiler and a spoiler review. Welcome back, AG. And then also, one last thing before we get into today's stories. On Sunday at 6 p.m., we're doing our February BTT Inside Access. So if you're a member at that level, you will be able to participate in that private chat, which is a little bit more just about stuff. You know, it's not so business focused, and we just kind of get to know each other. Hey, AG, that's very generous of you. It's our anniversary, Hadley. Now let's see here. Hadley, Trisha, I appreciate your questions, but we're going into the stories first, and then you can ask your questions at the end for Ask Me Anything. Don't forget, try to keep your comments and questions to the story at hand, and then I'll open up each story to questions at the end of each segment, and then at the very end, you can ask me anything you'd like on any topic for the final 10 minutes of the stream. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, story number 1. Where'd it go? Hold on. All right. Boop. Okay, so you might have realized that Batman Beyond has been trending almost all day. It was number 1 for a while, but now it's number 2. But that's still mighty impressive for a film that right now has no plans to be made. What's going on? Someone pulled a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool situation where they decided to go to the internets and get your love to push the studio to act. So this came, thank you, Lawson. This came from Patrick Hapron, who was the director of My Dad, the Bounty Hunter, which was a series on Netflix, which came out, I believe, last year. I remember talking about it a little bit on Movie Math, but I don't really know if it really did that well to place in the Nielsen ratings, but, you know, it's something that was produced. And then also, Yuki Demers, who is the one who posted this, he is a production designer / producer on the Spider-Verse movies, the first 2. So the production designer, Demers, he posted it this morning, and he said, hey, if you'd like to see a Batman Beyond movie, help us out, like and share. And as of right before we started filming, it's been viewed 1.5 million times, and as I said, it's been trending 1 and 2. So apparently what's happened, they explained it, and they said, we've been pitching this. And when we first pitched it, they said, no way we're making a Batman Beyond animated movie. And then they saw our artwork, let me bring it up, and they were like, you know what, maybe we will. But now, of course, James Gunn is in charge of DC, and they're saying we want to get a meeting with James Gunn, and it's not going as fast as we'd like it to. So let's try and force him to do it. Because, everybody loves that. Everybody loves being forced to do stuff, right? But, you can't argue with this, at least. I don't know if that's, again, we've seen plenty of online traction that doesn't translate into box office, but online traction's nice to have. All right, so here's my opinion on this, all right? And I'll be curious to hear your thoughts. That's funny, Mika. Peter Safran. Nobody wants to be with poor Peter Safran. He's like, I'll hear your pitch. And I think they feel that they can get to James Gunn as a fan. Also, I think because James Gunn, there are many downsides to how much he's on social media, but he doesn't seem to care. But I think one of them is that people feel that you're going to be more affected by it, right? So if everybody's in his mentions saying, why don't you make a Batman Beyond movie, maybe he'll do it. Whereas other executives might not even realize what's going on unless one of their assistants or the PR department tells them. All right, so I feel this is just too much like the Spider-Verse movies, and it would just come off as Warner Brothers ripping off those movies. And considering that they're so beloved and so lauded and so successful, I really wouldn't want to be, I don't think that would be a good place to be in, right? To be accused of just copying that film. I mean, these look, if you put Miles Morales in for Batman, Terry, that's who Batman is in these pictures, it would look the same. It would be the same project. I mean, that's how close it is. Now, I do think that this is a little bit maybe a better track than doing the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson movies, and then also whatever James Gunn is doing with Brave and the Bold with a slightly older Batman and Damian Wayne. Maybe it would be better to do a Batman Beyond storyline instead. And, then you could sometimes reference the other property because, of course, Batman Beyond, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, if not, it's a very good show. It's spun off of the animated series. It's a Batman animated show about Gotham many years later where someone else takes over the suit. You can see, hold on, you can see Terry and Bruce Wayne there. Terry McGinnis. He becomes the new Batman, and his mentor is an older Bruce Wayne. Barbara Gordon is the commissioner of the police. So, and I had always said, and they had kind of wanted to do a little bit of a Batman Beyond approach, which I reported with the Batgirl movie. And sure enough, Michael Keaton's Batman was in that film before it got shelved. But I mean, if you're going to bring back Michael Keaton, why the heck didn't you bring him back for a Batman Beyond movie? I think we all kind of agree with that one. And I was saying that since they were announcing all these different pieces. So I think, though, you can't really do a Batman Beyond animated movie because it just looks too much like the Spider-Verse films. However, you can do a Batman Beyond live action movie and potentially beat Spider-Verse to the punch because Amy Pascal has made it clear that she's not in a rush to do a live-action Miles Morales. So maybe they could swoop in that way. Although, would such a property, while fans on the online might geek out about it, I think that some of these projects don't particularly end up doing well with general audiences. Blade Runner 2049, Dune, I think, let's see how Dune 2 does. I'm nervous about its appeal with the broader demographic. We'll see what happens. Guy Ty, you didn't watch Movie Math on Sunday. I was talking about how Amy Pascal just recently announced that she's not going to do a Miles Morales live action movie till she does at least 2 more animated movies. So I'll do a poll if you are interested in a Batman Beyond movie. Are you interested in a Batman Beyond movie? Yes, animated. Yes, live action. Series, a streaming series. We'll do animated because they couldn't afford to do a live action animated series of this. And then, no, thank you. You'll be polite about it. All right, by the way, anyone can vote in a poll. Only members can chat, but anybody can vote in the poll. So just so you know, you just click on the poll and you cast your vote, let your voice be heard. All right, so while people are voting, does anybody have any questions or comments about this? Lisa doesn't care that it looks like Spider-Verse. I mean, you might not care, but I think some fans would care. Also, I just don't think there's so much going on. I don't think it's appropriate I think it's not appropriate for someone who works on a project to rip it off and go somewhere else and do the exact same thing. You know, kind of a little uncool. Although Apple Pitt says, who's to say Spider-Verse didn't rip off Batman Beyond? Ricardo says, how about a Batman Beyond video game? That's not a bad idea. That's a good workaround. MM92 says, how do you think James Gunn will respond to the idea? I think he'll do two things. One of two things. He'll either totally ignore it and be like, I was on Threads. Or he will say something placating that's like, yeah, maybe someday, that looks cool. And then just, either he'll just, he'll reserve the right to do it or not. I'm not saying he's not even maybe genuine in his thoughts on it. But I think that's kind of his MO, Future movie actor says Mutant Mayhem was both similar and successful. Was it successful, future movie actor? He's talking about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which was also very, very similar. Although I think that it didn't copy the color scheme, which you see this concept art is doing. I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did okay. But that might be partially the property. The property might be finally losing steam. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Melody T says, how is this related to Spider-Verse at all other than the proposed potential art style? Well, yes, that is very much what it's like. It's the exact same style. It looks so much like it. That's something that Spider-Verse pioneered. I would agree, Slow-Mo. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was grungier. But this is so close to what they did with Spider-Verse, particularly with the alternate reality at the end of the second movie, where they meet, Miles Morales when he becomes the Prowler. I mean, the color scheme is identical. Some of you are saying, what about Puss in Boots? Yeah, Puss in Boots, but Puss in Boots was more, I think, like a storybook. Again, it didn't have this neon color situation. I think that's what really makes these seem very similar. And also, they're both comic book properties. When you're applying it to different types of movies, it works a little bit. It's a little bit easier to get away with it. And I'd like to point out that some people don't care for this style of animation. Even the last Spider-Verse movie, while it did considerably better, did almost $700 million. I think a live-action Miles Morales movie could maybe make $1 billion. 700 million, $1 billion. I mean, they're great. These are great problems to have. But yeah. All right, let me close the poll. Joe Camp says Sony ImageWorks would likely animate this. Why would they? That's even crazier that they would animate a competitor. All right, are you interested in a Batman Beyond movie? 45% of you say yes, animated. 26% are interested in live action. 16% say no, thank you. Whereas 11% would prefer an animated streaming series. That's not bad for how many people are interested in an animated movie. I mean, we're the core demographic, of course. But I think that's a tough call. I don't know how it fits into the Gunverse. I mean, how many alternate reality movies, how many Elseworlds movies can he make? Hey, Alberto, I'm glad you made it. Hey, Xavier, welcome back. But I mean, and also, he'd have two separate Batman Elseworlds, three. He'd have Joker, he'd have Robert Pattinson, and then he would have Batman Beyond. And then his own. That's 4 Batman stories simultaneously going. I just don't think it's possible. As nice as these images look. I think this is one case where I would say this is another time where it's like, be careful. I feel like the internet might lead you astray, right? Like when the internet told them that Birds of Prey looked great. The internet was wrong. All right, so that's the first story of the day. All right, let's move on. So it's like, it's kind of a non-story because I don't think it's ever going to get made. But I do think it's interesting that this guy tried to pull a Deadpool, a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, where Ryan Reynolds, leaked the footage. He didn't do it himself. The footage leaked, and it was Ryan Reynolds who later admitted to doing it. But, that was new. I think, there was space for it in the Fox X-Men movies. I don't think James Gunn has space for this. I think that's a trap, right? That's bait. All right, so let's boop to the second story, as Sensation said. All right, this will be interesting. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this. Boop. Oh, I covered up poor Sam Mendes' face. All right, so I thought it was funny. One Trade said this morning that this was an exclusive. They were like, oh, an exclusive! We have the Beatles story. And I was like, wait a minute, I got a press release from Sony like everybody else. I don't know how this is an exclusive to you. But they were like, yes, it's an exclusive. And so, it's getting a little slow. So everybody's acting like this is a big deal. And I thought one thing that was funny this morning was that the Beatles cinematic universe was trending, which I thought was pretty funny. But I'm curious if you think this is a good idea. I think this is a bad idea. But I'm open to being, I'm open to turning out differently. All right, so Mr. Sam Mendes. Sam Mendes, of course, I like to joke that he stole Nolan's career. Because he copies him so much. Nolan, of course, Sam Mendes came from the world of theater. He was a huge theater director. Then his directorial or his big movie debut was American Beauty. And he won Best Director. He won an Oscar for that back in the day. Then he eventually went on to do the Bond movies, which of course is Nolan's dream. And he directed them very much like Christopher Nolan probably would. And then, of course, he did 1917. That's that Universal film. Where it was all one long take for World War I. And apparently that was partially Sam Mendes' idea, which was a very good idea. He was nominated for Best Director. He almost won, but then of course he did win, I think, the DGA and the Golden Globe for Best Director for 1917. And that was for Universal, by the way, where Christopher Nolan would eventually end up himself. I do feel that he and Sam Mendes are like parallel lives, man. They're connected in some way. I think it's hilarious. All right, so this is Sam Mendes' new idea. He wants to tell a movie about the Beatles. Music bios are all the rage, particularly after Bohemian Rhapsody won an Oscar for Rami Malek and almost made $1 billion. We were just talking about the Michael Jackson one the other day that they're doing. But it's not just one movie, it's 4 movies, one told from the perspective of each different Beatle. John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Mendes is going to direct all 3 of the films, but they will have different writers, and they're looking for writers now. And they haven't said what the release strategy will be or how far apart they'll be released. For instance, Kevin Costner's telling a 2-part Western this summer, and they come out about a month apart. Now, also, let me first ask the first question. Okay, I'll just say it. And I'm surprised that nobody brought this up. I think that while I get there's too much story for one movie, I think clearly this should be an 8 to 10 episode streaming series or for HBO. But can any of the Beatles besides John Lennon really support their own movie? Like, how embarrassing is it going to be when no one sees the George Harrison or Ringo Starr movie? Right? That's the problem. And what order do you release them in? Do you make everyone wait for John? And if you make everyone wait for John, do they just lose interest by then? And even if you're really gung-ho about 4 Beatles movies, are you going to be after you've sat through 2? That's where I think the issue comes in. So the first thing I want to ask is, are you a Beatles fan? Because it's interesting to me. Are you a fan of the Beatles? I love the Beatles. Then I respect the Beatles. That's where I am. I respect them. I have some interest. Not that interested. And then, no way I'm watching this. All right. So again, anyone can vote in a poll. Anyone can vote in a poll. Only members can chat. Anyone can vote in a poll. All right, so here's the thing. While, of course, when the Beatles were in their heyday, women were going nuts over them, screaming their heads off, I feel that today only really men are fans of the Beatles. I've met a couple of guys throughout my life who are huge, huge Beatles fans, and I thought it was interesting that it's always a guy. I've never met a woman like today who likes the Beatles, right? Who is like, let me listen to all these Beatles records, right? Now, of course, guys support a lot of franchises. They support comic book movies and all kinds of stuff like that. So they certainly could. I mean, I hope these movies aren't that expensive, but still, it's 4 movies, so they're going to be it's going to be at least $100 million. It's probably like $200 million to make these, which is crazy, right? So I don't really know if there's even enough of an audience to support even one movie. Like, think about it. Like when you see like Bohemian Rhapsody, it was amazing to be at the Live Aid concert, and I think it would be really cool in the Michael Jackson movie to experience his performances again. But I mean, like, how exciting are Beatles performances unless you really love the music? And I gotta tell you, I'm not a huge fan of the Beatles music. I mean, again, I intellectually respect the Beatles, and I'm like, the Beatles are cool, and I often in New York City find myself near the Dakota Building. And of course, very revered to that, and I honestly would love to know more about their story. But not 4 movies worth. And then if I have to watch 4 movies, like, why would I even watch one if that's not going to give me the whole experience, the whole story? Like, that's kind of what I'm nervous about, right? All right, and also, what if some of them aren't as good since they have different writers? I mean, that to me is like really rough. And then the other problem is that what if one of these flops, or 2 of them flops, and Sony's still on the hook to release the other ones? I mean, you can't send one of the Beatles to streaming, right? That would be so embarrassing. If you were like, wow, these are not doing well, let's stick Ringo or George on Netflix. And I think Ringo and George are going to be like, what the hell? All right, so let me close the poll, and then I'm going to ask you if you would see these movies. I mean, even if they had released 4 movies on streaming, I would be like, I don't want to watch all 4 of these movies. I think that I would watch it, but I would sit and watch an entire streaming series, even if it was 8 to 10 episodes by Newswriter, because I would want to get the whole story. But if they're finite films, it just seems like an awful lot. And also, when they tell you up front that you're only going to be experiencing like 2 hours of just Ringo, I'm like, really? Why would I want to do that? All right, 34% of you respect the Beatles. 24% of you say you're not that interested. This is interesting that it's pretty much split almost into thirds or quarters. 21% love the Beatles, only 21% of you. And then 19%, almost the same amount, are like, no way that you're watching this. So that's interesting. So you got 20% on each end of yes, and definitely no. And then that means you've got 60% in the middle who are like, you're not sure. You're not sure what you're going to do. So that's cool. All right, so let me ask you what you do about these movies. How would you watch 4 Beatles movies? All 4, baby. All 4 in theaters. All 4 in theaters. Some in theaters. Some streaming. Then I'd watch not all. And then none of them. Okay. And again, anyone can vote in the poll. Now, while you guys vote, does anybody have any questions or comments about the Beatles movies? Oh, look, Sensation wouldn't watch any in theaters. Did I make that an option? No, I didn't. Well, I only have 4 choices. I'm sorry. Okay. Jacob Knight says, how different do you think each will feel? That's an excellent question. I think because they're all directed by Sam Mendes, not that different. I think they're meant to fit together as a experience. But I do think that it would be cooler if they were all very different. If they had different directors, well then, even then though, I mean, like, I'm not going to go, like, really, I think, honestly, the only ones I could see myself watching are John and Paul. And maybe not even Paul, depending on how I feel about the John movie. Haunted Autumn says it would be better as a documentary with Peter Jackson. Well, they just did a Beatles documentary that did very, very well, or at least pretty well on Disney+. Iron Isa, I'm not sure why it's not a series. I guess because people feel, because Bohemian Rhapsody did so well. And I think Sam Mendes doesn't seem to be interested in directing a series. He wants to do this crazy, what is it? 4 movies I think would take so long to make as well. Ivan says the John movie would be the last movie. Yeah, I guess. MM92 says, would you put John first or last? I'd put John first, and here's why, okay? This needs to be hot out of the gate, or else all the other movies are dead in the water. So if everybody goes and sees John and has a great time, then you're like, well, don't you want to finish the experience? And I think it would give them a better feeling about releasing the rest of the movies. Because they'd be like, oh, hey, it did pretty good. Oh, it's Ringo? Thanks, Bubbles, if that's how you pronounce it. So the Moon says, where would you put Paul? That's the question. That's good. Paul would go last. That's what I guess I would do. I would do John, then I would do George, who I think actually would probably be the weakest. Then I put Ringo, because he's Ringo, right? And then I would put Paul last, because I still feel there's a lot to go with Paul. And also, so what order would you guys put them in? This is fun. Heather says, as we talk about this, I can see this is a bad idea. That's hilarious, and I think it's true. I'm surprised this didn't come up when they were discussing doing this. Everybody says bad stuff about Yoko Ono, but, with the Taylor Swift situation, it's made me feel a little differently about Yoko Ono. I mean, although maybe she was horrible. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. All right, let me see. Okay. I'm seeing, some people want to put Paul first and John last. Yeah, I think they're obviously the bookends, right? Although Jack's having a great time. I love it. Colton Manning says, the thing is, if you like the Beatles, there aren't bad ones. Oh, I love that. Now I feel bad. That's great. I hope that comes across. Haunted Autumn says, John for hype, then George, who did a lot of humanitarian stuff, then Paul to get hyped back in, and then Ringo, because it most likely will flop. Poor Ringo. I wonder how Ringo felt when he signed on for this. He was like, wait, we're all getting our own movie? Are you sure about this, guys? Maybe he could be like to George's family, being like, maybe we should split a movie. Maybe our movie. Maybe George and Ringo should split a movie. But, I mean, it'll make a really nice box set, I guess. Maybe Ringo has hidden depths that I don't know about, right? Maybe I'll be really surprised and be like, whoa, Ringo, you turned out to be very much supporting your own movie. Oh, Shahar makes an interesting point. It's almost like The Crown. Oh, what a great comparison. Maybe that's why I still feel it should have been a prestige series on Netflix or something like that. And they should have pitched it like a music version of The Crown. That's a really good way to look at it. And I love The Crown, and I watched a lot of The Crown, and it was way more than 4 movies worth, and I loved every second of it. I just feel like switching from one Beatle and staying with them for a whole movie is what's really the problem. If there was even 4 parts of I would rather even be two 2-hour movies, and Beatles Part 1 and Beatles Part 2. It's just a lot of Beatles if you're not into the Beatles. All right, let me close the poll, and then we'll go on to the third story of the day. All right. Slow-mo says streaming event, 1 movie a week for a month. Yeah, that to me sounds like the way to go, personally. All right, so how would you watch 4 Beatles movies? 53% of you said you wouldn't watch any of them. Oh, that's bad. 20% would watch some but not all of them. 14% would do some in theaters and then catch the others on streaming, whereas only 11% of you would see all 4 in theaters. I hope this doesn't backfire on the Beatles. They're nice dudes. Well, there's only 2 who are still alive, but their legacy doesn't need that. Right? I don't need that to happen to them. Okay. Let's see what happens. All right, the third story of the day. Here we go. Boom, baby. Oh, I like this one. This is held over from last week, but I like the story so much I stayed on top of it. So they're opening a John Wick experience in Las Vegas. Oh, this sounds so great to me. All right, so this is going to be in Area 15, which is like an arcade for adults. And this is also, by the way, the same facility where Universal is opening their year-round horror experience. So Area 15, by the way, I know some of you are from Vegas. Like, I don't know if Rashad's here today, but do you guys, have anyone been to Area 15? Is it a good experience? Do you like it? Oh, see, Rashad is here. Like, because it's open right now. I was just on their website before we went live, and it looked a little bit more like arcadey than I would like. I was like, that just looks like an arcade. Oh no, Rashad says it's cool. I trust Rashad. All right, so Area 15 seems like it's a pretty cool experience as is, but it's about to get cooler. They need a better website. All right, so they're going to have, although Jacob says don't bring your dogs with you. I'm sorry if you had a bad experience, Jacob. Eric Patterson's in Vegas. Head on over there. Rashad says it's great. All right, so Universal is opening a horror experience here, and then it was just announced last week that Lionsgate, in working with 87 North and Chad Stahelski, are going to do a John Wick experience. I can see a couple of others of you have been as well, and you enjoyed it too, so that makes me feel even better about this. All right, so they're going to be opening. This is going to be the Las Vegas Continental. And anyone can go. You can go to this experience, and it's going to have a themed bar and retail shop. I mean, who's not going to want to go in there? But also, when you go in there, you're going to be able to go on missions. So basically, it's like an escape room meets an interactive stunt show. This just sounds so incredible to me. I can't believe it. A couple of years ago, before the pandemic, I did the Sleep No More at the McKittrick Hotel here in New York City. That's been around for 13 years. It's downtown. And in fact, actually, I just found out it's ending this month after 5,000 performances and like 2 million guests. But it was really interesting to be in an immersive experience where the actors are all around you and you can explore it. But I think you won't be able to explore this one on your leisure. I think they'll take you around in groups, and there'll be different missions that you can complete. And I don't think it's going to be paintball because I think that would be not good, Dancing Dog 60, because then they'd have to give you a change of clothes. I don't think that would work. However, I think that you probably will see some stunt work done in front of you, which is really cool. Now, what a great way to do this, right? Like, you get dressed up because, that's the world of John Wick. Everyone looks awesome. So you get dressed up, you're already out on the town in Vegas, and you get to go and have a really good time at this event. I mean, I think it's a phenomenal idea. Some of you are saying laser tag. I don't know, because then you'd have to put on the little vest. I don't know how that would affect the cool factor. I mean, this is going to be like an experience with different experiences within it. So one of them could be laser tag, and then I think they could probably have a couple of different things depending on how much that you want to get involved in this. I honestly would have put a restaurant in there as well, but maybe the bar has some food too. But yeah, so Rashad says Vegas needs more attractions like this. Yeah, they're kind of turning it into an adult Disney World. And for a while they were trying to be a Disney World for everybody with more all ages entertainment. That didn't really work out too well. They've gone back to the adult focus. But I think bringing in this kind of adult theme park style experiences are like the perfect way to go. I think this is a great idea. And if it does well enough, they could probably do continentals, as Heather just said, in other locations, right? New York, London, Rome. They could easily do this. Dancing Dog 60, that's so interesting to see, will the guests have coins? Probably, and you could probably buy some coins. I just think it's a really cool idea. I just think it's one of the better ideas I've heard about doing this outside of a theme park. I think it's really good. Does anybody have any questions or comments about this before we go to the Q&A, Ask Me Anything? Ricardo, when is it opening? That's a great question. I forgot to look to add that. Hold on. Sometime this year. Sometime in 2024. Oh, Rashad, get excited. Rashad, you have to go and tell us how it is. So I think it's a great idea. Optimus Prime Ribs, don't worry, we have the Q&A still to go. Elia says the Beatles Cirque du Soleil show is pretty cool. I saw, not in Vegas, but here in New York, I saw the Cirque du Soleil Michael Jackson show. And that was really good. I also love the soundtrack for the Cirque du Soleil Elvis show. And I love that soundtrack. Square One says, I've done Sleep No More twice. It was an incredible experience. Both times I had chills. If this experience is like that, it'll print money. I agree. If you've already done an immersive experience like myself, I've done it or Square One has done it, you will know even more that this is going to be a great idea. Rashad says he'll be there opening night. And then Heather says she can fly for free to Vegas. That's pretty nice, Heather. And, you know, a lot of people are in and especially if you're on the West Coast. I don't know where I don't remember where you're located, Heather. But I know people sometimes don't even stay. Although hotel rooms in Vegas are super cheap because they just want you to come. Even at like the really high-end hotels, the rates are much lower than any other city. That's right, Michael McKennis. Let's all go to Vegas. Woohoo! Woohoo! I love Vegas. Vegas is great. But you can't really do more than 2 or 3 days there as a trip. Just Josh. Vegas is fantastic. You know? No, Jerome, the hotels are not. Go and look at the hotels. I think you'll be really surprised that they're, you know, not like a major city. And they have wonderful shows there. I don't even gamble. I mean, and if you are I gambled a little, but you should set a limit for yourself. Like you should set a limit of like $20 or $50 and like you're not going to go over that no matter what. Because there's so much other cool stuff to do there. You don't need to gamble. And I also know that the casinos offer classes in the mornings because nobody's gambling really in the mornings too much. So you can sign up at whatever casino or go to another casino and you can take a class. And there are wonderful restaurants and experiences and shows. It's just great. See, Alberto says Vegas is great and affordable. But yes, 3 days tops. Yeah, you should only plan for 3 days. And, you know, that could, unless your travel trip is really long, your flight time, that really should, maybe 4 days, including your arrival and the days that you leave. Kareem, I think classes on gambling. I have some friends who went and they took classes on, I think, blackjack. Maybe it was blackjack. It's great. It's great. I recommend a Vegas vacation. It's really fun. I mean, always, of course, be careful. Keep your wits about you. Try to stay on the strip or close to it. You'll have a really good time. That's right, Kay Walton. The food is incredible. Tons of buffets. My favorite hotel, myself personally, is the Wynn. But if you've heard of it, it's good. That's right, Teriyaki Donuts. You can go to the Hoover Dam and take some damn photos on your damn vacation. Oh, I love that. Shahar, if your mom has an issue with gambling, she should not go to Vegas. That's right, Mika, and now they have the Sphere. Oh, I'd love to go to the Sphere. I have a friend who went to the Sphere and sent me some photos, and it looked worth every penny. The Sphere is expensive, but the Sphere is really cool. They have like a show that you can go into inside. It's really neat. Oh, Kareem, I'm sorry your friend had a bad time. Maybe Magic Mike just wasn't a good show. Oh, that's right. U2 played there as well. They have some concerts there. But don't worry, even if there isn't a concert in the Sphere, there's still something that you can do to go in there while you're visiting. All right. I think we're ready to go to the Q&A because now this has just become an ad for Vegas. All right. Q&A. Here we go. Booyah! All right. Mexican nacho is locked and loaded and ready to go. Hi, for Dune, hope you can answer. Do I go to see it in an IMAX or any very big screen would do? Planning to take my friend group, always a pleasure. If you can still get IMAX tickets, Mexican Nacho, by the way, always a pleasure with you as well. Mexican 8 Nacho, longtime BCC member, always a delight to see. Mexican 8 Nacho, if you can still get IMAX tickets that are good, I would do that. However, if you can't, I wouldn't sacrifice going opening weekend. If you can just see it on a big screen, I think you'll have a good time. Like if you can get Dolby, I saw it on a big screen at Warner Brothers at their offices here in New York, but it was not even their biggest screening room, which I was slightly bummed about, but it wasn't even their biggest screening room. It just was a nice screen with a good quality sound, and I had a great time. So I wouldn't miss opening weekend. Blair Wraith says, since it's John Wick themed, I think they should do a doggy spa and things for your dog. Oh, that's why you said don't bring your dog. I get the joke now. That's funny. Don't bring your dog to John Wick. Oh, I get it. That's hilarious. Very well said. I'm sorry I didn't get that earlier joke. Yes, he loves dogs, but I think they don't want to have to deal with that. I think that they're like, no, don't do that to us. All right, hold on. Let's see here. Lisa's sister did the dam when they went to Vegas. That's awesome. I'm glad they had a good time. Copper Bean says, Grace, need your take on this. Tomb Raider, Birds of Prey, Marvels, Madam Web. Studios fail miserably at bringing women's empowerment to the screen. I fear that Storm, Rogue, or Jean will not be portrayed fairly. Well, they shouldn't have their own movies. They should be in a great X-Men movie, and then I think everything will go great. I'm not worried yet. The Deadpool and Wolverine movie looked so good that I'm still, and the X-Men animated series looked good, that I'm feeling a little better. Ross, are you thinking of going to Vegas? That's great. Don't feel ignored, Danny. I see you. All right. Oliver says, hi, Grace. I agree with your take on Batman Beyond. By the way, how professional or not is it to do something like this? Leaking things or posting things online to try and get hype for a real movie pitch. I think it's better to do it anonymously, but I guess they would know where that information. I mean, they probably knew where the. I guess Ryan Reynolds could have just been like, I don't know who leaked it. You guys shouldn't have given it to so many people. But I think that these guys are small enough that I don't really think that it matters too much for them. You know? I think like they're probably not getting a ton of meetings anyway, to be honest with you. And so what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to go back to like their lower level of success. I think it was worth shooting their shot. Although I hope I hope that one of them, the guy who works on the Spider-Verse movies, didn't damage his relationship with that. Because if I were the Spider-Verse producers, I'd be a little ticked off. All right, Steve Salvato. So I was like, so you basically pitched our movie to a competing studio? All right, and try to say like, take me with you? All right, Steve Salvato says, hi, Grace. I'm having a hard time seeing how Fantastic Four and Superman Legacy will make their July 25th release dates, being that they haven't either started filming yet. I'm nervous they are going to rush them out. Well, James Gunn, he's going to live or die on the Superman Legacy movie. So I don't think that he's going to rush it. I think they're probably just going to torture some more visual effects artists, to be sadly honest with you. I mean, if they're both done, remember, they start working on visual effects as soon as the shots start being done, right? So as soon as they start filming, they can start sending it to the visual effects people and being like, start doing your prep work. I think if they both finish filming by the end of, even by the time we hit fall, which I think both are capable of doing, that will still give plenty of time to the VFX teams. And remember, VFX are often finished just a week before release because they're doing the trailer shots first. So I think, like, for instance, Avatar: The Last Airbender comes out on Thursday. Some of the trailers, the VFX has been a little wonky. I can tell you, having seen the actual episodes myself now, they finished it in time. They made it. It looks great. AG says, so I read a rumor that Tom Cruise could be in Quentin Tarantino's next film. Have you heard about it, and do you think he'd be good in it? A Quentin Tarantino movie is not really going to have people, in the Scoop community following it. So I haven't heard anything about that. I did, of course, see the story, and I have no reason not to believe it. So I think it's probably true, and I think it's a great idea. Parker Worm says, is the Avatar Netflix embargo at midnight tomorrow night or later in the day? It's when the show drops. which is midnight tomorrow Pacific Standard Time. So 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's when the review embargo lifts, when the show itself drops. I'm doing my review today, though, so it's locked and loaded and ready to go. The Delicate Genius says, how about a Nightwing movie with Zac Efron? I have to tell you that based on some of the stuff I've seen Zac Efron in recently, I feel he's aged out of the role, unfortunately. But I think back in the day, that would have been a great idea. Hey, B Powers, I'm glad you got gifted a subscription. Welcome back. Oh, let's see here. Kay Walton, have a good time at the Dune fan screening. You're going to have a great time. Don't ruin it for anybody. Oh, Zay, thanks for upgrading to BTT Inside Access. And Dano, welcome back. All right. Justin Bocci says, you said with EMB, as the thing for Fantastic Four, I like calling him EMB, that it's a waste of the actor. But don't actors choose their work? Wouldn't they get excited about the opportunity? Yeah, I think it's a waste of the actor as a fan, but I'm sure, to do the MCU kind of style press tour, it's really going to get his name out there. It's going to lead to him getting maybe other work. And if he doesn't have a lot of other opportunities being pitched to him, I can see him saying, maybe this is the best he's going to get. Maybe he should grab this brass ring while he can. And so while I'm disappointed as a fan, I don't necessarily think it's the wrong move for the actor. I mean, he's been around for a while. He was all the way back in the Punisher show. And so also apparently, I don't remember him from Girls, but apparently he was on Girls. So he's been around. Hey, Dano. Let's see here. Future movie actor says, I'm hearing only so much of the $200 million was spent towards the one Argyle movie as is. So that would mean not that big a deal in that case. Well, no, that $200 million went somewhere. It went into people's pockets. Matthew Vaughn laughed all the way to the bank and then probably got a little bit nervous that they paid so much for something they're not going to get their money back on. Tiff says, hey, been feeling a bit off recently. Lots of stressors against me at the moment. Your streams bring me so much joy. Any advice to perk up? I'm sorry, Tiff. Someone had a question like this the other day, and so I'm happy to repeat that advice. I feel that when you're stressed, it's really, really important to take some time for yourself, just to blue sky. And to blue sky means to just to be out in the world and to think about stuff, whatever you want. And, that's like going for a walk, doing something you really love. And I think it's very important for everyone to have those things that help them escape, be it a TV show, a favorite television show. For me, it's comic books. I also really like to go for walks. That stuff will help you. And so just anything that allows you to disconnect and not have to think about what's stressing you, I think will help and go a long way. And I'm so glad that I can be one of those things. Mandito says, Grace, I watched Madam Web and you were right. It was awful. My partner keeps trying to tell me it wasn't that bad and it was pretty good. And I'm like, did we watch the same movie? I wonder if your partner reads comic books. Because I think if you don't read comics, you're more forgiving to it. Ross says, hi, Grace. I was wondering with the downfall of Madam Web or Venom 3 and Kraven still coming out. For sure. Kraven was filmed. They've both been filmed. I think anything beyond that is in question. But I think there's a good chance that Venom 3 and Kraven will make enough money that this just keeps going inexplicably. Jacob. Yes, I got the joke. H. Hadley, I'm so sorry I missed your super chat. Sometimes YouTube takes them away after a little bit. You could try putting it in again as a regular chat, and I'll try and keep an eye out for it. Xando says, hello, just wanted to say thank you for this amazing channel and community. Thank you for being a part of it, Xando. Also love how our time for the X-Men is finally here. I'm getting excited, Xando. I'm getting excited. Oh, I didn't see what time we were supposed to stop chatting. I'll do it for another 5 minutes. Danny says, hey, Grace, what are your thoughts on Disney signing a deal with Sony to take over all of Disney's physical media production going forward? I think some people still collect it, but clearly for the most part, a lot of people aren't buying physical media. Particularly, I bet, from Disney, because it has so many subscribers on Disney Plus and all the content is on there. Max888 says, if they ever do Power Girl in the DCEU, would you still want Sydney Sweeney in that role? I don't think I ever suggested that. I think they will never do Power Girl. They've even actually changed her image in the comics recently. Daniel Harati says, great commentary today, Grace. Cheered me up. Oh, I'm so glad. You know, I have to say, you guys do a lot to cheer me up. Sometimes I'm stressed and frustrated and having a difficult time before I go live. And every time you guys cheer me up. So it's mutual. So that's really, it makes me feel very nice. Jake Van Norden says, I finally watched X-Men the Animated Series and it's blowing my mind. I finally understand the potential of the X-Men. Oh, welcome to the party, Jake. Did H. Hadley put their comment in here? I haven't seen it yet. Danny says, Grace, what are your thoughts on the drama between Sony and Marvel about pushing Spider-Man 4? I'm glad you like my hair. I have not personally heard of that. That's really just coming from scoopers, so I don't know if it's definitely true. Dancing Dog 60 says, Grace, I think Fantastic Four is a tough film to make. I love the classic Lee Kirby version myself, but the contemporary Fantastic Four has never worked for me. Yeah, the Fantastic Four has never worked for me either. I'm really nervous about it. I don't know why Kevin Feige's so gung-ho on Fantastic Four. But I like the cast. Oh, H. Hadley says, no worries. I know you have a lot of... thanks for being cool about it, H. Hadley. I was just asking what other adult horror franchises would benefit from the Vegas experience treatment. I'm not sure off the top of my head. That would require a lot of thought. Maybe something with Alien. Something that's contained, that's very adult. I could see that maybe working. So that's maybe something I would consider. If these two do well, everything will come in there. Everybody in Hollywood likes money. Thank you for gifting a membership, Ross. Alberto says, quick spoiler review of Night Country. I loved this season so much. I don't want to spoil it too much. I loved True Detective Night Country. It's not without its problems, but overall I thought it worked for me. I do think that the ending kind of seemed to come out of nowhere, but I was just glad that it wasn't a supernatural ending, because I think that would have been just a little bit too much. Optimus Prime Ribs, Avatar is a binge show, which I feel a little bad about, because I think if it was weekly, people would be talking about it like they talk about Percy Jackson or more. But that's not going to be it. That's not what they're doing. That's right, Sensation. Bad Batch also went back to midnight releases on Disney+. It drops at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, and my review will go up then as well. It's good. I think it's, I don't think you need to be in a rush to watch it, but the first 3 episodes in particular, which are going to drop at 3 a.m., are really good. Dancing Dog 60 says, I'm very worried about the casting of Miles Morales. I think it will be hard to please everyone, and the young actor will have a really rough time. Not if they do it right, and I think they will. They did a great job with Tom Holland, I think Amy Pascal, for some of her flaws, I think she's pretty good at casting. David Kyle says, Grace, did you see Scarlett Johansson teaming up with the American Fiction writer for her TV series? Really? Oh, that's so great. That makes me feel wonderful. I'm very happy for him. I'm so glad he's already getting more work. Isaac Lopez says, what do you think about the backlash against Joseph Quinn, of course, who was cast to play Johnny Storm? Well, I don't think anyone should be mean to Joseph Quinn, but I do agree that he's horribly miscast. I'm hoping that we are proven wrong, but right now, I agree that he just seems like just such bad casting. Teriyaki Donuts, I don't think they're ever going to make another Dungeons & Dragons, I'm sorry to say. I think it would have been announced by now. Zay says, do you think the animation on Moana 2 will be bad? I think that it will be not movie-level quality, which is going to make the internet be mean, and so I think that's what you're probably going to end up dealing with. Mr. Real Shane says, do you think Madam Web will hurt future superhero movies, contributing to the feeling of superhero fatigue? I don't know. Everybody knew it was going to be awful, right? We didn't know it was going to be that bad, but I don't think it's like some horrible surprise like Quantumania was, or Thor: Love and Thunder. I think it's going to maybe really stop all female superhero movies, but I don't know why they're making those, unless it's Gotham City Sirens. The only all-female superhero movie that ever actually should be made was Gotham City Sirens, and I think, as much as I'm loving Margot Robbie right now, part of me will always be kind of annoyed that she did not choose to make that. Apricot Warrior. I love your name. Grace, waiting for Sonic 3. Knuckles trailer looked amazing with Knuckles. I'm not a big Sonic fan, but I was impressed with how good that show looked. Oh, Lisa, I did see that I was trending over the weekend for the Superman Legacy situation. It was very nice to be trending for something that was largely people being supportive. So that was very nice. I appreciated it. Let's see here. Daniel Haradi, I have seen Working Girl. I've seen it multiple times. I love that movie. And the Carly Simon song, that's the opening, is just fantastic. I love that. Let's see here. Vincent says, hey, Grace, what Marvel Disney Plus series are you looking forward to next? I enjoy all of them. I guess the X-Men animated series, whatever's up next. I think they do a good job. I mean, for the most part. Secret Invasion was awful. Starry, I have not changed my mind so far on the Fantastic Four casting situation. But it's early days, of course, and we have no new information, so that's why my mind has not changed. AJ Jones says, this afternoon, Disney Movie Club sent an email saying they are shutting down after 23 years. It doesn't bode well for us physical media lovers. That's right, it does not. I'm sorry to say. Christian and Joe says, hi, Grace. It's the Henry Cavill Captain. You guys have been asking this. I'm trying to avoid it. I asked one of my sources to look into it. They're looking. I haven't heard anything about it. I would be really surprised if it's true. Because I don't really think that Kevin Feige should be taking anybody's sloppy seconds. Let's see here. The Fawn says, any chance we will see another adaptation of the Dark Phoenix in the future, or Green Phoenix, or White Phoenix? I don't want to see any more Phoenix stories for a while. You know, I'd much rather move on to the Jean Grey, Emma Frost, Scott Summers love triangle. All right, Mars73 says, hi, Grace, I'm back from my surgery. Oh, how are you doing? Now I'm just on the road to recovery. I did end up with the certain bag, but it's only temporary while my body heals. Thank you for your transparency, Mars73, particularly for anyone else who might find themselves in the same situation. And you're also excited for X-Men 97. Mars73. Mars73 has been dealing with a serious health issue and has been keeping us updated. And I'm so happy to hear that things are going well. Fingers crossed. And it's really just so nice to have you in this group telling us what's going on, Mars. I think that I'm past the 5 minutes. I get distracted. I forget when I said I was going to be done there. Let me just do like a few more. Let's see. Oh, hey, Croc. Hey, Croc. Say hi to Neb for me. Croc says, if not Batman Beyond, do you think Gunn can afford to make any other large-scale Elseworld theatrical excursions? Comic book movies are best animated. Do you think... I think he can't make too many Elseworld stories, especially not in the beginning. You know, especially because he risks the problem of people saying they prefer that to what he's doing in the main area. I think he's really got to do the main stuff. He's got to lock that down. Bug says, I feel that Marvel moving into X-Men is the key to re-energizing the superhero movie love. Having my first ever brand, so those are two different thoughts. And you're getting a new washer dryer. I love it. That's fantastic. Well, congratulations on your washer dryer. That's always an exciting time. And anyone who has to do laundry knows that I'm serious about that. And then, yes, I really hope that the X-Men work out. All right, let me do... Jacob Knight says, existential question. How will all of this digital content translate in hundreds of years when people... Oh, because there's no physical content. Well, I would think we seem to be getting only more digital. So maybe it'll do well. I don't know. Let's see. All right, so let me do shout-outs. What's everybody doing? What are you guys up to? And I appreciate all of your kind comments from Mars73. All right, what's going on, everybody? Let me say hi. What are you doing? Oh, Jack, I'm so glad you liked the Bob Marley movie, and I'm really glad to hear Lashana Lynch was so good. Just Josh says, rearranging my office just shattered my expensive computer monitor. Oh, no! I hope it has a warranty. The Fawn says, enrolling back in school for the summertime. Education never stops. Oh, good for you. That's fantastic. Daniel Harati says, just back from the Berlin Film Festival, met Cillian Murphy and Matt Damon. Oh, wow. What a great time. Sounds like you had the full experience. Targaryen Poppy, what a great name, says, greetings from Dallas, currently at home celebrating my birthday. Happy birthday. I'm glad you spent some of it with us. Been watching you for 10 plus years. Ah, that's so awesome. How fitting that I would be a part of your birthday. I love it. Thanks for sticking with me. Square 142 says, sick on the couch, but drinking a cold latte in sun-soaked Canada. I'm sorry you're not feeling well, but I'm glad you're resting up. Rashad is about to head to work at the airport in rainy Las Vegas. Stay safe, Rashad. Stay safe. Danny says, hi, Grace, having a steak for a late lunch. Wow, what a lunch. Much love from Guatemala. Well, Timodoc says, Grace, I'm in Orlando for this week. I see it's very crowded in Orlando. Getting ready for my Disney days on Thursday and Friday. Excited for Tron. If you do the Genie Plus thing, it's been selling out before the park even opens, so make sure you stay on top of that, Timodoc, and good luck. Karaoke Ken is drafting a Star Wars film. I like that you dream big, Karaoke Ken. You never know. Dr. Long Monkey says, making spaghetti with tomato sauce. Oh, you're making me hungry. I would love to eat that. Let's see here. Jander says, ending the workday in Rio. Cheers. Cheers to you, Jander. Let's see here. Mandito Jr. says, hi all from San Antonio at the gym. And then heading home to feed the farm I have got going on at home. That is a lot of animals there, Mandito. I'm sure they're all very loved. Let's see here. Elliot says, at home in rainy LA, rewatching X-Men animated series to get ready for the revival. The show has really made me a bigger X-Men fan. I'm so glad. Although I have to tell you, I'm a huge X-Men fan, but I don't really have that much of an interest in rewatching the show. Maybe I should. You guys are making me nervous. How many seasons is it? I'll have to look it up. Jack is eating cookies in Liverpool. Delicious. Oh, 2 Liverpool peeps, Adamsphere. I love it. Sensation says, I'm just watching your stream while trying to stay dry on another wet day in Southern California. You guys have been getting a lot of rain. SMR Goose says, doing laundry. The stream keeps me upbeat. I'm glad we could keep you company. It's 5 seasons. My God, I can't watch all that. Tiff is going on a blue skywalk. Have a great evening. You made me so happy, Tiff. I really hope that helps. That's great. Let's see here. Maybe, I don't know. I know the X-Men so well, but I'm sure there's one stupid thing I've forgotten. So, I did really feel that I benefited from rewatching Avatar before the series came out. So, poop. I better get on this. Chris Kahn says, treated myself to a new AirPods Pro. You love them. Well, then it was money well spent. I'm glad it made you so happy. Hey, Matt in Michigan. Haunted Autumns is about to rewatch The Iron Claw and lament the fact that it got no nominations. That's right, it didn't. It didn't, but it's a good movie. Jasmine Jones says, working from home in gloomy Anaheim. How bad can it be? You're near Disneyland. I love Disneyland too. Hey, Jasmine, I like that picture of you, and I'm sorry you're having a gloomy day. Pastor Madeline, it's so nice to see you. Just got home researching things to do in Seoul when we travel there in July. I'm so jealous. You're going to have such an amazing time. It's like a futuristic city, right? Oh, you're going to have such a good time. All right, well, I better get back to work. I got to work on that Avatar review, and I will see you tomorrow. The live streams this week will be tomorrow, and then on Friday, early, like 11 a.m. or something, or even earlier, because I'm going to be covering the Warner Brothers quarterly report, which is at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the live stream will probably be like at around 10 or something. All right,